Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Brittany Jennings coming to you live from the Seniors Blue Book. And today I have Matt with me from Alzheimer's Home Therapy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you liking this this cold weather so far?
Well, I've I had to wear a sweatshirt. The first winter I was down here 2 winters ago, I managed to get through it, but I think I'm kind of getting weak.
And tell everybody where you're from.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, so that's a really, when I hear Massachusetts, it's one of those states where I instantly feel the cold through just hearing that state in the winter time. If it's cold here, it's freezing everywhere else, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm excited today. We're kicking off a series that's going to be every month, the second Wednesday at 1 p.m. Matt is with Alzheimer's Home Therapy. He's the owner and founder. And I want to take a moment just to kind of talk a little bit about your background, Matt. Matt spent 3 years at a hospital working with hundreds of persons with dementia, identifying the most beneficial physical activities to slow cognition decline, while also improving physical and emotional well-being. Since then, he's authored and published Aging in Place with Alzheimer's, a mind and body exercise program, which has helped improve the lives of thousands of individuals. And Matt, I know we've known each other for about a year now, and I've learned more and more about your services. This is a great segment live. As we know, virtually, this is like the best way to reach people right now.
Yep.
Tell us about BrainFit 101, and let's kind of set the platform up today with what we can expect for the second Wednesday of every month, so people can actually join in. I'm going to be putting my exercise clothes on for the first time during 2020 with you next month.
Well, that should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Well, the first thing I really have to say is that, before anyone begins any exercise program, they should definitely talk to their doctor. If you're a caregiver, talk to the doctor. There's really not much besides balance that would restrict exercise for persons with dementia, but a lot of persons with dementia, they actually have a lot of other associated chronic conditions that might prevent them from exercising or doing certain exercises. So you really want to make sure that, your loved one is going to be safe before you start anything. Like you said, exercise for people with dementia, it's so many benefits. I mean, besides physical, obvious physical benefits, but gaining strength, losing weight, improving cardiovascular health. There's a ton of emotional benefits. It can improve mood, decrease anxiety, agitation. Cognitively, it can make someone think clearer, have better decision-making skills, sleep better, which is huge for some people with dementia because they have sundowning. So it can help decrease the effects of sundowning. So there's really so many different benefits, and physical activity, like I said, it's just so important. In talking about exercise, the most important exercise or type of exercise for someone is cardiovascular exercise or aerobic exercise. For people in the beginning stages, they, where they balance might not be a problem yet, doing things like walking and swimming are great. For people in the latter stages, I highly recommend using a recumbent bike. That's basically it's an exercise bike where it's low to the ground and you sit back. And the great thing about those is it has a swivel seat, so people with limited physical functioning or mobility can actually get on. It's a really safe thing. They're somewhat expensive, but you can get them used. And if you can, I really especially with during COVID, you can't really get out. You don't want to go to a gym. It's just a really good piece of equipment to have at home to help you live a happier, longer life.
That's a great recommendation. I know I've used a recumbent bike before, and I haven't exercised, to be truthful, like I said, this year. But I guess next time, actually, that's a good New Year's resolution. We'll exercise together in 2021.
Yeah.
But let's talk too about so when people are going to jump onto this segment, what kind of exercises can we expect to be doing with you? And of course, again, the benefit is for that person who is suffering from that cognitive impairment. So if people are watching and wondering kind of what level they can be at to participate, let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, I mean, the caregiver is going to benefit too. Caregivers should really exercise with them. These exercises are actually even more beneficial to help prevent dementia from forming or even slowing, mental decline. But the exercises that we're going to be talking about today and what we're going to be doing next week are stretching exercises and strength training exercises. My activities that I developed at the hospital, they were actually kind of multifaceted. So I had physical activity, and then I ended up combining it with sensory integration and brain games, which was able to give individuals the highest, level of cognitive stimulation to the brain, which is the best way to help treat dementia. But today we're just going to be talking about the physical aspect of it, and later in the series, I'll be talking more about the sensory integration, what brain games I'll be using. So as far as stretching goes, there's various types of stretching. Like static stretching, where you hold to a point of tension, you hold that for a certain amount of time. But what I use is dynamic stretching, and that's basically where your joints and muscles go through a full range of motion. So doing something like arm swings or knee raises, again, make sure your loved one's sitting. The reason why I use the dynamic stretching is because there's very little instruction to it. A lot of people that I even worked with towards the end of their life, they were able to do the exercise or the stretching just because they would mimic what I was doing. So they would just copy, they would look at me and they would just copy, what I was doing. So they were getting the benefits from it. So very, very good for people with very, low communication skills or, severe cognitive decline. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about is strength training. Obviously, again, strength training is important. There's so many different benefits to it. But when I'm working with someone with dementia, I use two different types of things. I use resistance bands and dumbbells. And the great thing about those is they're fairly cheap. You don't have to spend a ton of money. Probably costs like a month at a gym. So it's a really cost-effective tools to have. So with resistance bands, I'm getting text, sorry. With resistance bands, they're great because as you get stronger, you can basically, the more you have your hands towards the middle of the band, the more resistance there is. So you can use it for, some time, and then they actually have their color kits, so different colored resistance bands have, obviously different levels of resistance to them. And they're, like I said, they're pretty cost effective. I really don't use those that much though with people that with more severe decline, just because the instructions can be kind of difficult. For example, you do a chest press, you have to put the band behind your back and then underneath, your armpits, and then, do the motion after that. So that can be very confusing. So what I do with those people is I use dumbbells because you can do hand over hand with them, and you can make sure that they have, proper form. That's really important. So, they don't get injured, or, they get the most benefit from the exercise. So obviously, if you're exercising, you want to make sure that you're actually helping and not hurting. And dumbbell exercises, they're very simple. You have it be one step, like say like a bicep curl. I even use soup cans, anything that somebody has at home. You don't even have to get those. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't know this, but even in your 90s, you can get stronger and you can build muscle mass. So there's really never a point in your life where you can stop trying to make yourself healthier. So anyway, I guess next time we're going to be talking more about, seeing you in your workout clothes. I look forward to that. I hope that they're Christmas themed.
Yes. The answer is yes, for sure. Let's touch on one more time too, just in case people are joining us now on the live stream. What are the benefits to the individual and the caregiver of using this BrainFit 101 program that you've developed?
Yeah, well, so the benefits for the individual, there's a ton of cognitive, physical, and emotional benefits. Again, physical, gaining strength, increasing flexibility, improving cardiovascular health. emotionally making you feel better, increasing, self-esteem, decreasing anxiety. There's just so many benefits. And then cognitively, being able to actually slow the decline, and, have better decision-making skills, improve attention span. And again, there's tons and tons of benefits. For the caregiver, I mean, a lot of times the caregiver will kind of put their own health aside, because they're constantly taking care of someone. And, being able to take care of yourself too is so important. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to compromise, the level of care that you're giving your loved one.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a time too where you can develop, new memories with the person that you're caring for. Exercise can be a lot of fun. I did develop a lot of different exercise games that people can do, with their loved one. And I've worked now with probably thousands of people, and in that time, I've only doing the games. I've only had one grumpy guy tell me like this, this is stupid. I don't want to do it. Everyone's always laughing, and having a great time. And
there's always one in the group.
Well, he did come back to me afterwards and apologize and said that he was just in a bad mood.
We can all be that way. We can all be grumpy from, a Scrooge from time to time.
Yeah. Yep. And and staying active is so important right now. I know everyone's kind of shut in their house and, they're not doing much, but, even doing things inside your home to stay active is so important, especially, so many people are depressed right now with what's going on. So, with the colder weather, cold today, but with the cooler weather, get outside, take a walk, spend some time in the, in the sun. That's great for people too. And, we'll get through this, and, hopefully introducing exercise into your life will, help improve it until we can get, back out and back to normal.
Exactly. And you hit on it. I mean, people are not going out as much as they were, even just simple things like going to the grocery store. A lot of people are using delivery services for that even. So with what the services that you provide under your company, you can go directly to their home and safely, of course, and develop an individualized program with them that's, depending on what level of cognition they're at. And you can work with them individually. And the other thing I want to point out too is that you can work with senior living communities, with home health agencies. Your training is across the board for anybody really targeted who's taking care of an individual, correct?
Yep. Yeah, and it's a ton of fun. Talking about the assisted living communities. It's just good, again, before the whole COVID thing happened, getting people together, because socialization is so important for people with dementia or any older adult. So getting people together and just having, just having fun, being around other people. If you see other people exercising, you're more likely to join. And I do work with people in their homes. Being in the field for 20 years, I have tons of experience in infection control and trainings, and I'm OSHA trained. So I definitely make sure if I do go into somebody's home, that I have all the PPE that I'm supposed to. I follow all the CDC guidelines. And if someone has a lanai or an outside space, that's where I actually will work with the person, just because it's a lot safer.
Perfect. And it's the perfect time of year for that, because the weather's not, in the hundreds.
Yeah. I don't miss that.
So I'm looking forward to, again, each month, it'll be the second Wednesday at 1 p.m. We're going to jump on here. Matt's going to be sharing exercises. If you're at home or if you're at work, wherever you are, you can participate. Matt, I would say there'll be about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, that should be good. And, if you want to participate, make sure that you have a nice sturdy chair, one that doesn't have arms on it that will get in the way if you can. And if you have dumbbells or a resistance band, be ready with those, and you can just work out with us.
Perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to it. You're going to get me in shape. I don't know if working out once a month will do it, but I might have a six-pack by my birthday in May. So
okay. We'll work towards that.
We will. Well, thank you so much for jumping on here. And again, this is Matt. He is the owner and founder of Alzheimer's Home Therapy. Again, this will be a segment the second Wednesday of every month, 1 p.m. Jump on here with us, have some fun. Exercise really does make you happy, because it really enhances so many different parts of your life, like Matt talked about. So feel free to jump on with us, and we will see you then. So Matt, have a great day, and thank you so much for all your knowledge.
All right, you too. Stay warm.
I'll try. I'm bundled up with the heat on here, so see you soon.
All right, bye-bye.